G'day YouTube, Warbles on a lot here. Welcome to 9238 Glen Innes. An oldie but a goodie. Dating back to the work of the Royal Australian Survey Corps, printed in 1972. We are here, 15 kilometres by road north of Glen Innes. However, down here we see the Stonehenge railway station, and there we see Stonehenge, and there used to be a schoolhouse. And in about 1970, what was inside that schoolhouse was sold off by auction, because the Stonehenge School had shut down in something like 1948, sort of when the baby boomers were in nappies, the first of them. And I guess, yeah, the highway had been bitumen during the war. There was no need to run a school at Stonehenge, so it was left shut up for 20 years, kind of 25 years, 30 years. And then they sold the stuff off. Now, the deputy principal of the Glen Innes Public School was a bloke by the name of Fuller. And he used to be, before he went to Glen Innes, he used to be headmaster of Stonehenge. My mother worked at the Glen Innes Public School, and old mate Fuller told my mother that part of the equipment out there was some looms that he'd had his 6th class carpentry boys working on. So, whether for herself or whether she thought she might be going to latch onto something that was worthwhile sticking into the land of the Beardies History House and Museum, of which she was one of the early birds, my mother and her cronies, friends, fellow classmates of the Glen Innes Tech weaving and spinning class, they went along to the auction and they sort of picked the eyes out of it, and all the other looms that they got was sort of complete. This thing was either incomplete or bits were missing or something had gone on. Right now it's the 14th of January, and yesterday I got handed this along with a wooden heddle measured where it has to be cut to fit, 2 matching bits of wood that I don't know where she scavenged them from. One's got somebody else's name on it, a dowel which is also measured where it's to be cut and fit. These are to be fitted using the provided wing nuts in such a way that when the warp has been fitted onto the loom around these 4 corner points, this may be adjusted up and down to vary the distance across here in order to tension the warp, while the foreshortened heddle is supposed to fit down in there. Somebody Larson's shuttle is to be made into a warping flat. Don't know what the proper name of that stick is, but that'll convey the idea. And if I get all that figured out right, then the next task will be to shorten this shuttle. To uneven lengths. Got to make a short one and a long one. All this has to be done in some sort of a hasty, timely fashion, because the whole idea is for this to go on display with a warp and some weft and a shuttle functional for the January 26 Australia Day, Invasion Day celebrations in town. So, just thought you'd perhaps enjoy coming along for this little ride in, oh yeah, what is it? We're going to finish a loom that somebody started making 70 years ago, and the task was interrupted when the school closed down and they moved on to high school. If it wasn't being done at the command of me 83-year-old retired fashion and design teacher, craft teacher, sewing teacher style of a mother, I probably wouldn't take the job on. But Beffel ist Beffel. Orders are orders. Filial duty beckons. Let us adjourn to the woodwork bench. And here we go for your first laugh of the proceedings. Show you just how much I know about life, the universe and everything. When I showed this thing to you in the car, I had the bloody thing upside down, but there you can see the patina of wear on the bottom of the legs, which I displayed upside down. Like I said, I wouldn't take this job on unless Mummy said I had to. So, start coming up to speed. Suppose I better begin by shortening the heddle. This is kind of important. This thing's been out of service, drying out, leaned up against something, and it's warped into a slight parallelogram. I'm not going to try and correct it. I'm going to try and give it square edges, so to speak. Oops. Using the slot of the first cut to guide the position and angle of the second. Starting the cut early makes it easy, right? There we go. And now we give them a bit of a round finish. On both sides. Trying very hard not to ding this piece of wood, but yeah, well, didn't perfectly succeed. And the rest can be done with sandpaper later. Once again, start the cut to line up on both of the, I suppose you could call them spar caps. And now that I'm halfway through that cap, I'm going to start on the other side. And then come back and try and sort of even it off. so as not to have one side dangling in the breeze entirely, while the big bit of the other side is cut off. So now we round these. Taking advantage of the vice. Like so. Once again, fine cleanup is done with sandpaper. And yeah, there's another end to go. And having done it by hand, I now realise I probably could have used the fancy smancy 250 watt electric power file, but I didn't think of it. And the thing is, it works. It's got just enough room. I reckon could have actually gone for another strand in there, and it would have meant one more gap. But anyway, that means they can sort of wriggle it around and play with it, and yeah, it's foolproof, if not optimally maximised for the largest possible piece of material you could weave on this loom. Don't know who L. Larson is, but they officially are deemed not to mind. Soft as butter. I'm going to call that Moranti, or perhaps white cedar. Not dark enough for red cedar, not quite pink enough for Moranti. Like such. And then give it a bit of a lick. With a finer set of teeth. There. And it still says L. Larson. Larceny, perhaps. And yeah, it's exactly to the measurements required, but I would have made it slightly longer if it were my design, but I'm not a weaver. I'm just a woodworker. I do what I'm told. I transpose some of my scratched hieroglyphics over the top of those of my mother, and we commence. Drilling and enlarging holes in the old shuttle. working our way up, so to speak. Using the visor's compression to prevent any chance of splitting the piece while the drill bites through it. Somehow it feels right to be using hand tools on this project because there pretty much were no consumer electric hand tools back in 1948 when the rest of the loom was going together. Whether it makes any difference to the authenticity of the project to be using hand tools on it, I don't know. This will take a while. Okay, that's one done. Next one on. There we go. And now we cut it off. Before further sawing. You get the picture? Like so. And thus, and such. Now ready. To give these the functional profile. Just a bit too thick for that. We'll try this. Funny thing about little old ladies, they ask for such things and they say, can you just do this? Can you just do that? They don't have any idea what they're asking for. In terms of time or skill or tools or experience. They know what they want, and they figure somebody should be able to do it for them. And they have a sublime faith that somebody will figure out how to do what they want. And have the tools and the time. Right, that'll be functional. Shouldn't snag on the threads after I take to it with some sandpaper. Reasonable facsimile of what it was made to copy. The one that my father made for my mother. Okay, back after a cup of coffee and a bit of a sit down. And now, time. One more time. It's a fiddly bloody sort of a job. I'll give it that. Yeah. One way to get a clearance, eh? The idea is to get a finish that's not going to snag on the threads. Of the warp while carrying the weft. It's not difficult, just a bit fiddly. Right, and one shuttle has become 2 shuttles. Right, so the next step is to enlarge the holes to take that dowel, so that the dowel, suitably foreshortened, can be mounted roughly about here. Kind of sort of thing on that vertical post, so that by pulling this out here you can put tension on the warp running around the knot rollers, I guess you'd have to call them. So actually it'll have to be slightly lower and then come out here. Never having really seen such a thing, and never having seen the plans for this. We'll see how we go. My working theory is going to be to use some of this Meranti pine, or perhaps it's Tasmanian oak. The top piece is the unknown. The piece it's resting on is Tasmanian oak. Tasmanian oak is offcuts from propeller carving, or perhaps a wind turbine. I used to use a lot of Tasmanian oak back in the day. Whereas if, as I suspect, it's Meranti pine, then it's just one of many offcuts, collected and picked up from who knows where over the years, and stuffed in the ends of the rain shadow of the corrugated iron roof over the top of chainsaw milled bits and bobs that I cut over the years. That's a slab of red cedar from the rainforest, whereas this is pretty much worthless. But it fits. It fits. And it'll do the job. So we'll begin by shortening the dowel. Radiata pine by the feel of it. Good stuff. And of course, it has to be rounded as well. Even under the both ends. So now we go back to the drill. Let's hope this does too. Yahoo yippee. Just a press fit at the moment. Thus. Nice. So we do that one more time. So now more gentle hieroglyphics, marking where to cut and drill. One, two, three. Enlarge. The bolt hole. Before, damn, that wasn't supposed to happen. Okay, start again. Okay, right. More hieroglyphics. Mirror images of them now. And so, once more, unto the drill. And seeing as it carried on like a delicate, fragile little thing last time, I'll saw its chamfer off with a support this time. And give it no opportunity to splinter. Funny, hey. Do that both ends. As well as the middle. Like so. Both ends. There we go. Two pieces, roughly mirror images. So we'll give them a bit of a truing up with the rasp. Kind of a bit too soft for that, actually. beginning to think I should have used Tasmanian oak. Perhaps. Pretty much a sandpaper job, that. Okay, that's one. Right, now I'll do to both of them. There we go. Use a countersinking bit. Take some of the burrs off anyway. Okay, so that's those fabricated. Okay, so that's the sort of mock-up figure. If you see what I mean. So, we drill these two together. As a pair. Use the countersink again.